Hello, everyone. Happy New Year, and I hope you all have had a great holiday season. Now that we're in the same year that Black Ops 2 was set in, I thought that it would be fun to take a look back at the games that I played this year and give you guys my personal top 10 games that I both played and came out in 2024. If this list was any game that I played for the first time this year, you better believe that Symphony of the Night would be on this list. This list is my personal opinion. This is not me trying to objectively rate the best games of 2024. It is simply based on my experience. Without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, so I actually originally wrote down Helldivers 2. However, I just realized that, no, I actually got to give it to Marvel Rivals. Helldivers 2 is great, don't get me wrong, but I personally did not really get into the game as much as other people did, and Marvel Rivals, on the other hand, which came out pretty recently at the beginning of December, I've had a lot of fun with when I've played that game. It has just been a blast to have a game like that to play again. Like, I have not really been into a hero shooter since Overwatch, like the original Overwatch, so playing Marvel Rivals has just been a blast to play with friends, and seeing the art of that game, it has also just been like incredible. Like the art in that game is so just, oh my god, so good. I can't believe it. But again, the most important thing being a video game is that it's fun to play and it's engaging, and Marvel Rivals is both of those things for me. So Marvel Rivals is my number 10. At number 9, we have Balatro. Now, this is a game that I actually only got and played recently, but I almost immediately understood the appeal. Making your own decks of cards as a run progresses with jokers that have crazier and crazier effects, allowing for ridiculous synergy strategies, feels really fun and satisfying when the pieces fall into place and the number of chips you accrue each round increases exponentially. This game perfectly encapsulates the satisfaction of me-like number go up, neurons activated. At number 8, we have Stellar Blade. Now, admittedly, I am still pretty early on in this game, and it's one that I plan on getting back to soon, but what I did play, I really enjoyed. I loved how visceral and responsive the melee combat feels, the world is interesting, the characters are visually appealing, and the music is quite the vibe. At number 7, we have Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Now, this would be up higher if it was a full new game rather than an expansion, but if you want to hear me talk about this expansion and Elden Ring as a whole, go and check out my Elden Ring video that I did a few months back. Overall, an incredible expansion. At number 6, we have Astrobot. I made a whole video on why I love this game so much, so if you want the full review, go back and check out that video. But to sum it up, more AAA games need to be like this again. Astrobot is pure joy from beginning to end, and it harkens back to the platformers of old while standing next to those legends in its own right. I said it in my Astrobot video, and I'll say it again. But after 30 years, Sony has finally found the mascot for PlayStation. At number 5, we have Path of Exile 2. I actually just started playing this game a few days ago, and I'm already hooked. Despite being in early access, this game feels incredible to play, and the passion of the developers at Grinding Gear Games is on full display everywhere in this game. I'm playing as the monk, and I'm currently in Act 2 of the main story, and I've just had such a blast the entire time I've played so far. This is easily the best ARPG that I've ever played, and while I haven't played a ton, it is certainly more engaging than the other ARPGs that I have played. Having the ability to dodge roll in a game like this is a game changer in my opinion, and is here to stay in ARPGs going forward. The combat, looting, and level systems have all been incredibly fun and engaging so far, and if this game is already this good in early access, I cannot wait to see what it will look like at the 1.0 release. Tekken 8 comes in at my number 4 spot. Quick shout out to Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection as well as Sparking Zero as other awesome fighting games that came out this year, but Tekken 8 came out swinging at the beginning of 2024, and I have a blast whenever I play this game. It is so much fun. I'm a pretty new Tekken player, as I only got into the series at the end of 7's life cycle, but 8 clicks with me much more than 7 ever did. I love the way that the game feels to play, and it's incredibly feature-rich as well. Arguably the most feature-rich fighting game to date. I played a ton at launch, and I've been playing on and off ever since. I've been playing a lot more recently since Clive from Final Fantasy XVI was added to the game as the first DLC guest character. I lost it when Clive was announced to be coming to the game, guys. Like, I love FF16 so much, and it made me so happy to see Clive in a fighting game. So, needless to say, I am super excited for the future of Tekken 8. In the number 3 spot, we have Metaphor ReFantazio. I just finished this game recently, and wow, just wow. What a beautiful game. Atlus really cooked with this one. Metaphor really feels like a culmination of their other works up to this point, while also doing enough different to stand on its own. While we've seen Atlus use a lot of the same systems that this game has in games like the Persona series, I honestly just love the fact that this game is basically fantasy Persona. The archetype system was fun, and as always in Atlus games, the narrative was incredible and poses a lot of thoughtful questions to the player. The main theme of the narrative is one that literally everyone can relate to, and is one that I personally relate a lot to. I won't say what the theme is for spoiler reasons, but the way that this game explores that theme is masterful and inspiring. At number 2, we have the remake of Silent Hill 2. This was my first ever experience with a Silent Hill game, and I was skeptical initially because I've always heard how legendary Silent Hill 2 is, so when the remake was announced, I was curious to see how it would be. Would this be my chance to experience a classic in a new and reinvigorated way? Or would this just be a cheap cash grab that missed the mark? Well, luckily when the game came out, I heard nothing but good things about the remake, which prompted me to get it myself. So, simply put, guys, Silent Hill 2 was the most profound game that I played all year, and easily one of the most profound games I've ever played. I realize that this game is not quite my number 1 spot on this list, but this sentiment still holds true. How this game explores its extremely tragic and real, almost too real at times, narrative themes through its characters, environmental storytelling, and setting is nothing short of a masterpiece. It's no wonder that the original Silent Hill 2 is a classic, and this remake is essentially a perfect remake of that original game. I still plan on playing the original game for myself one of these days to see all of the little differences, but for all intents and purposes, this is how a remake is done. The new over-the-shoulder perspective and combat feel perfect. It feels more engaging than the tank controls and straightforward combat from the original, while retaining a bit of clunkiness intentionally so that James Sunderland doesn't feel like an action hero. Alright, we can't have James Sunderland roundhouse kicking the monsters like he's Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4. That's just not gonna work. The performances from the actors are incredibly detailed and nuanced, while still making the characters have an uncanny feel to them like they did in the original. There's so much to talk about when it comes to Silent Hill 2, like, we could be here for hours, guys, and, you know, maybe I'll do another video about Silent Hill 2 in the future, but for now we gotta finish this list, so the last thing I'll say about Silent Hill 2 for the time being is that I am so happy that this remake turned out the way it did, so that I could experience this game the way that I did. This game is one of those experiences that is gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. It was that impactful. And finally, at number 1, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This was another game that came out relatively early in the year, but man, is it one that has stuck with me. This is the second and middle part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, and I was absolutely blown away by how Square Enix handled this game. Everything in this game feels like the perfect next step from Part 1. Combat enhancements and additions like the synergy abilities between the party members, more interesting side quests, the character interactions, the music, oh my god, the music, oh my god, and of course, the open world. Going into this game, I was definitely a bit concerned about how Square Enix was going to handle the open world, but it was nearly perfect in my opinion. While some areas of the world map won't be explorable until Part 3 comes out, we got the majority of the world map from the original FF7 fully realized and expanded upon in Rebirth. Like Part 1, everything from the original that is in this game is turned up to 11 in the best way possible. I think the best way that I can describe this game as someone who loves the original FF7 as well as the remake games so far is magical. Experiencing this game for the first time felt like a magical fever dream. I just couldn't believe what I was experiencing and that my expectations were exceeded overall. The only area that I'm still not 100% certain about is some of the narrative changes that appear mostly towards the end of the game, like in Part 1. However, if Square Enix is going to take the narrative of Part 3 down the route that myself and many others think that they are, we could be in for something truly legendary when the remake series, the remake of FF7 wraps up with Part 3. I have faith in the developers that Part 3 will be legendary overall, just like Remake and this game, Rebirth, but if they manage to have a slam dunk with the narrative differences that they've incorporated into the remake so far, it will elevate the already legendary status of the first two parts as well, and I cannot wait. But those are my top 10 games of 2024. How about you guys? What were your top 10 games of 2024 and why? What were some of your favorite games that you played this year? Tell me in the comments below and we'll get some discussions going. Hope you all have enjoyed the video. Happy New Year once again, and I will see you next time.